August Mahoney to Syracuse?
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So Syracuse basketball might be after one of the best shooters in the country in August Mahoney. Hello, everyone, and welcome into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and thank you very much for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And on today's show, August Mahoney is predicted to go to Syracuse basketball. We're going to talk about who is August Mahoney, why he is a perfect fit for the Orange, and what the rotation would look like if Mahoney were to commit to Syracuse. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So this prediction of August Mahoney coming to Syracuse, it is from the College Basketball Report Twitter account. And this person has been right on a lot of his predictions. I'm going to leave a quick screenshot of his Twitter profile here now. Cool. Now you guys got to look at it. He's right about a lot of things, right? He got Chaz Lanier to Tennessee correct. He got Miles Kelly to Auburn, Braden Smith to Gonzaga, and DJ Wagner to Arkansas. So I believe that College Basketball Report predicting August Mahoney to go to Syracuse is not nothing. Okay, this is information that is obviously coming from somewhere that he is predicting it to go to Syracuse. And Mike McAllister, shout out to Mike McAllister, who's been on the podcast a number of times. He suggested back in early May that Syracuse should go after August Mahoney. So there's that too. Mahoney is a 6'4", 190-pound shooting guard. He is from Saratoga Springs, New York. It's only about 2 hours from Syracuse. So in terms of a hometown fit, Syracuse seems like it would fit the bill in that regard. He is a grad transfer from Yale. So smart kid. He went to Yale and he graduated, right? You can't be stupid and go to Yale even if you're only playing basketball. I'm just saying, they're not taking dummies at Yale. So you can never have enough smart kids on the team. He only has 1 year of eligibility left, and last season he started all 33 games for them where he averaged 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist per game last season. He shot 48% from the field, 45% from the three-point line. And I know you guys might be thinking to yourselves when you hear 45% from the three-point line, how many attempts? Did he take a lot? Was there a lot of volume there? And the answer is yes. He did it on 5 3-point attempts per game and hit 45% of them. He played 27 minutes a night. So this is one of the most elite knockdown shooters in the country, being predicted to go to Syracuse basketball. In terms of his transfer ranking, On3 industry rankings have him as a 4-star transfer, 85th overall player in the portal. So if he were to commit to Syracuse, he would be the highest rated transfer to commit. As far as what he does well, there are 3 things that he does well, and it goes beyond just shooting, like just basic shooting, basic numbers. I've talked about this stat with the number of players that I've brought up here on this podcast, but deep range shooting, especially with a guy like August Mahoney, he has 20 made threes last season that came from more than 25 feet. So this is someone who can shoot the ball well behind the three-point line, and he can do it at a pretty high clip. So what this does is it forces teams to play up on you, and August Mahoney is a 65% shooter at the rim. I don't think that's on accident, because when you go up too much and you overcommit on someone, it leaves the lane wide open, and that's why he's 65% at the rim. So that's why it's important that he's a deep range shooter. The second thing that he does really well is catch and shoot. Last year, he had a 70% effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot attempts. That was in the 98th percentile across all of college basketball. So he catches it, he fires it as soon as possible, and it goes in more often than 98% of any player in the country. Okay? One of the best catch and shoot players in the country. And, well, this is more basic, but free throws. He has been in college for 4 years, all at Yale, and he is an 88% career free throw shooter. 88% from the free throw line. Last year, I believe he had a little bit of a down season from the free throw line. He was 85%. The year before, he was at 93. So he's pretty knocked down from the free throw line. He's pretty knocked down from the three-point line from 25 plus feet. He can also hit. This guy is one of the best shooters in the country, and Syracuse basketball being predicted to land him made me very, very, very happy. When Alan Griffin said, "Get your popcorn ready," I would say this pretty much this should qualify it. Okay, 45% from the three-point line last season. 45% on 5 attempts per game. 98th percentile in effective field goal percentage. Unbelievable. So the fact that on catch and shoot attempts, I should say, August Mahoney to Syracuse would be the best addition that Syracuse basketball has made in the transfer portal. Now, coming up, I'm going to tell you why, beyond just shooting numbers and who he is and all of that, why he is a perfect fit for Syracuse. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. And switching gears to some Syracuse football, I talked about Will Nixon being added into the RB room. Well, if you think that influences your thinking into Syracuse football winning the ACC, hey, it certainly wasn't a bad addition, so why not go right now on FanDuel and bet Syracuse to win the ACC at plus 4,500. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the streaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and we're going over August Mahoney being predicted to Syracuse basketball. He is a 6'4" shooting guard, 4-star transfer from Yale, one of the elite three-point shooters in the country. And it's time to go over why he is a perfect fit for Syracuse next season. And I have 4 reasons why. Okay, I do notes, and I came up with 4 reasons. First, Syracuse needs another three-point shooter. Period. They need another three-point shooter. I don't care what position. They need one. Chris Bell is the only player right now on the roster that I project to shoot at least 35% from the three-point line and play at least 15 minutes a night. And I've gone over it before. There are some players that could come close to 35%. We hope that JJ Starling has a good year from the three-point line. Last year was, I believe, 32%, so maybe he increases it. Jaquan Carlos was 34% at Hofstra. Maybe he can bump that up a little. Elijah Moore is an elite three-point shooter, but is he going to even play 15 minutes a night next season? And Donnie Freeman, I know he's improved it, but is he going to be 35%? The point being is that Syracuse basketball needs another proven elite three-point shooter. And August Mahoney, at 45% last season, over 40% for his career, fits that mold. Okay, so that's the first reason why August Mahoney is a perfect fit for Syracuse basketball next season. Number 2, Mahoney brings tournament experience to this team. It may come into you as a surprise, but August Mahoney has been in the tournament twice with Yale. Yale has won the Ivy League twice since he has been there. In fact, Yale has been to the tournament twice. Oh my goodness, and Syracuse hasn't. That's just, we got to get in more often than Yale. Period, end of story, all right? But anyways, August Mahoney has been in the tournament twice. He has played 3 total games. That is the amount of games that Yale has played in that span. In 2022, August Mahoney had 8 points, and he was 3 of 4 from the field in a loss to Purdue. No shame in losing to a school like Purdue, especially when you're Yale. And in 2024, he was instrumental in Yale's upset round of 64 win over Auburn. He dropped 14 points. He was 9 for 11 from the free throw line. Again, a really good free throw shooter. 85% last season, over 90% the year before, 88% for his career. 9 for 11 from the free throw line, and they upset Auburn in large part because of Mahoney's 14 points. He also had 7 points in a loss to San Diego State in the round of 32. So August Mahoney has played 3 games in the tournament, and he will be entering his 5th year in school, so he brings experience as well. You never have enough experience. They say that experience is what wins in March, and August Mahoney has experience. So those are the first 2 reasons why he is a perfect fit for Syracuse basketball. They need a knockdown three-point shooter, and he's got tournament experience. Number 3 of why August Mahoney makes a lot of sense for Syracuse basketball and why I'm hyped that he is predicted to go to the Orange. His numbers do not change much against Power 6 competition. They don't. I've gone over it with basically every single recruit, every transfer that is coming from the mid-major. Because, yeah, it's one thing to light up, insert whatever school that nobody's ever heard of. But what happens when you're going up against the big boys? And your team is, for the most part, going to be outmatched. Do you still at least produce? And August Mahoney still produces. In the last 2 seasons, Mahoney has played 8 games against Power 6 competition. Really 7, but I'm going to consider Gonzaga in there because one of those games is Gonzaga. Gonzaga's not in the Power 6, but we count Gonzaga. So elite competition. He's played 8 games, and Mahoney has averaged 11 points per game. It's pretty good. And he is 16 of 37 from the three-point line. That is 43%. He was 45% last year from the three-point line. So in the last 2 seasons, he's 43% against Power 6 competition, including Gonzaga. His numbers don't change much. And that, I think, is because he's such a good shooter and the three-point line doesn't change no matter the competition that you're playing. It doesn't change. So August Mahoney still kills Power 6 competition. So we can wipe away that concern with him. And number 4 of why August Mahoney is a perfect fit for Syracuse basketball, he brings another starting caliber player in the portal. When we're looking at the aggregate of players that Syracuse basketball has gained and players that Syracuse basketball has lost, and if we're looking at only the transfer portal, you can make the argument that because August Mahoney is such an elite three-point shooter, that he is the best transfer to come in or leave Syracuse this season. You can honestly debate it between him and Malik Brown. Now, Malik Brown is probably the more all-around player, but in terms of an elite trait, August Mahoney has three-point shooting and Malik Brown has defense. So you can make the argument that he's the best. I would probably say I would still take Malik Brown over him just on face value at their positions. But Mahoney would be second in my book in terms of the aggregate of players that have been brought in and players that have lost. He is a starting caliber player. Period. Like, just imagine a guy like Eddie Lampkin being able to kick out to August Mahoney. Eddie Lampkin's one of the best passing big men in the country. The offense, I think, a lot of times is going to flow through him. Mahoney's going to get his open looks, and he's going to hit them if he's on Syracuse basketball next season. So those are the 4 reasons why I believe August Mahoney is a perfect fit for Syracuse basketball next season. Number 1, Syracuse needs another knockdown three-point shooter. Number 2, Mahoney has tournament experience. Number 3, his numbers don't change much against Power 6 competition. And number 4, he is another starting caliber player that Syracuse basketball would have brought in. You would have Mahoney. You would have Eddie Lampkin. You would have Jair Davis, who can start, but Donnie Freeman is there. And you would have also brought in Jaquan Carlos, who I think is best as a backup, but could be a starter for this team next season. August Mahoney is another starting caliber player. Now, coming up, what would the rotation look like if August Mahoney were to commit to Syracuse? Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Day is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Day now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and we're going over the prediction of August Mahoney going to Syracuse basketball in the transfer portal for next season. We talked about who is August Mahoney. He is a 6'4" shooting guard from Yale. He is not far from the Syracuse area as far as his hometown is concerned. We talked about why he is a perfect fit for the Orange, and now it's time to examine what the rotation looks like with August Mahoney in it. So, here's what I got. Mahoney does create a conundrum. He is a shooting guard, and Syracuse has its starting shooting guard. They have JJ Starling, okay? They also have Elijah Moore, who's the backup right now, but they have JJ Starling as the starting shooting guard, and you have to figure he's going to play at least 30 minutes a game. So the question is, would August Mahoney come to Syracuse and accept a bench role? Would he? If the answer is no and you have to start him, then what do? Right? Now, I get it. Money talks, NIL, everything like that. But it's still hard to go from a school where you're starting every game to being a backup. It's hard. So what happens if you need to start him? Can you still do it? What you could possibly do with August Mahoney in and also having JJ Starling, I've talked about how Jaquan Carlos can be a backup point guard. Well, what if you move JJ to the point and this allows Mahoney to start as the 2 guard? That's what I got. You could do that. So you would have JJ at the point with Jaquan Carlos, Chance Westry, and Kyle Cupp as your reserve point guards. It would eliminate the need for a point guard. Okay, Syracuse basketball, if they were to get August Mahoney and he needs to start, they don't need a point guard. Simple as that. They have enough if you move JJ to point. But what happens when JJ needs a break? Well, when Starling needs a break, you can have Carlos or Westry come in. And when Mahoney needs a break, you can have Starling slide back to the 2. You can put in Carlos Westry at the 1. You can also there are so many combinations with the guards that you can do, but I believe there's enough playing time to go around for at least 3 or 4 of them. And you could just mix and match their positions. It helps that Chance Westry can probably play a little bit of point guard, so you can put him there as well. In this scenario, if August Mahoney were to start, the starting lineup would be JJ Starling, August Mahoney, Chris Bell, Donnie Freeman, and Eddie Lampkin. That's how I would project the lineup to look like for next season. This would be a really good offense. I think it would be one of the best offenses in the ACC. You got multiple knockdown three-point shooters. You got August Mahoney and Chris Bell. It's not going to get really any better than that in the country. It's probably not going to get better than that. You have a guy in JJ Starling who can create his own shot, which is good. You need guys who can do that. Create your own shot, right? Donnie Freeman is said to be well-rounded and can score at all 3 levels. So there's that. And Eddie Lampkin is one of the best passing big men in the country, right? You got to figure moving JJ Starling to point guard. Who's your main distributor? Well, you can honestly use Eddie Lampkin as the main distributor from the post. You can do that. You can run your offense through Eddie in the post. Not necessarily a bad thing. There's one problem with this lineup, though. There's one issue. It's kind of like you have to make trades with a lot of players. Most players do not do everything well. And there's one common side of the floor that maybe only one of these players does well, and that is they all are really good at offense, but not very good at defense. Let's just put it that way. We don't know how good Donnie Freeman is going to be on defense next season. Everyone else, not a great defender. Now, maybe JJ Starling would be a good defender at point, but I don't know. The point being is that this is okay because Syracuse has better defenders behind all of those guys. In a defensive lineup, you can put in Jaquan Carlos to be your 1. Starling probably stays at the 2, but you can put in Jair Davis instead of Chris Bell. Donnie Freeman stays at the 4, but instead of Eddie Lampkin at the 5, you put in Naheem McLeod. You can mix and match. I'm just saying from a starting lineup standpoint, it would probably be JJ Starling, August Mahoney, Chris Bell, Donnie Freeman, and Eddie Lampkin. But you have plenty of guys behind them that can play solid defense. Okay? So that's how I see it if August Mahoney were to commit to Syracuse. Again, this prediction is coming from College Basketball Report. He has been right about a lot of his predictions that he made just a couple of days ago. They started dropping like flies. He got DJ Wagner to Arkansas correct. He got Miles Kelly to Auburn correct. He's gotten more. So the fact that he's predicting August Mahoney to come to Syracuse, I don't think is nothing. He got Braden Smith to Gonzaga. Chaz Lanier to Tennessee. Remember how, maybe you guys don't know, but Chaz Lanier is one of the best players in the transfer portal, and it was between Tennessee and Kentucky. He was basically 50-50 on where he was going to go, and College Basketball Report nailed it. He said he was going to go to Tennessee, and he went to Tennessee. So he got Chaz Lanier right. It's not nothing. Do I know for sure if August Mahoney has had any sort of contact with Syracuse or Syracuse has any sort of contact with him? I do not. But I could see it as being a perfect fit. I went over that. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the country. And you could still fit him in the rotation as a starter, even though it kind of creates a shooting guard conundrum. Having said that, I did mention August Mahoney in the latest Poll Friday when I asked you guys the question, who would you prefer next? August Mahoney, Lucas Taylor, or a third-string center? Still plenty of time to vote. You can go on Twitter at @LO_Syracuse. I have the tweet pinned, so all you need to do is just click. That's it. It's pinned to my account. And you can also vote on YouTube. So you can just go to the community page and vote right there. Having said that, that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, click that like button. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so you know right away when I'm dropping the next podcast. And let's hope that Syracuse basketball can land one of the best three-point shooters in the country in August Mahoney.